Are you over 70 and still keeping up with the same habits? It might be time to rethink some things. Discover why letting go of certain habits can actually make life easier and more enjoyable. From holding on to a big house that's hard to manage, to stressing over diets that likely aren't effective, and even overloading your social calendar when you'd rather relax at home, there are things that just don't make sense anymore. Now, don't get me wrong, life after 70 is full of wisdom and joy. But let's be real, there are a few things we could all benefit from leaving behind. And that's okay. It's about creating space for what truly matters. Stick around as we explore 8 things that no longer make sense after 70. You may find yourself agreeing, laughing, or even saying, "Yep, it's time to let that go." Let's dive in. 1. Keeping a busy social calendar. As we age, maintaining a jam-packed social calendar can feel more like a burden than a blessing. Overscheduling yourself can lead to stress and exhaustion, leaving little time to fully enjoy life. While staying connected is important, constantly hopping between events can be overwhelming, especially after 70. It's okay to embrace a slower pace, one that allows you to savor meaningful connections instead of rushing through them. Take Martha, a 74-year-old retiree, for example. She once felt obligated to say yes to every invitation, weekly book clubs, Sunday brunches, and neighborhood meetings. Her calendar looked full of fun activities, but the reality was that she was exhausted. Her energy was spread too thin, and the activities that used to bring her joy began to feel like chores. After skipping a much-needed nap to attend another event, Martha became frustrated and irritable instead of happy. That's when she realized it was time for a change. She started saying no more often, focusing only on the activities and relationships that truly mattered. Letting go of the guilt of declining less important invites was transformative. With more time for herself, Martha became more rested and present with loved ones. She even discovered new hobbies like gardening and painting, which brought more fulfillment than trying to keep up with a packed schedule. Saying no wasn't easy at first, but she soon realized that prioritizing her well-being didn't make her less social. It made her a better version of herself for the people she cared about. The truth is, after 70, quality matters more than quantity when it comes to social interactions. It's better to have a few meaningful moments than to be drained by superficial engagements. Simplifying your social calendar can create space for rest, reflection, and deeper connections. Like Martha, you might find that less truly is more. 2. Obsessing over physical appearance. As we age, our priorities naturally shift. And one of the biggest changes is how much or how little we care about our appearances. In your 20s and 30s, looking polished and trendy might have been top priority. But after 70, appearances often take a backseat to comfort, self-respect, and inner peace. That's not to say you shouldn't care about how you look, but spending hours stressing over wrinkles, gray hair, or the latest fashion trends can feel more like a waste of time than a source of joy. At this stage, what truly matters is feeling good in your own skin and embracing who you are. Take Henry, for example. At 75, he used to love wearing tailored suits and polished shoes, whether he was running errands or meeting friends. He always dressed to impress. But as time passed, he realized how much effort it took to maintain that look. One day, while struggling to button up his favorite blazer, one that had admittedly shrunk a little, or so he told himself, Henry paused and thought, "Why am I doing this?" That's when Henry decided to trade his suits for a more practical wardrobe. He swapped stiff jackets for soft cardigans, polished shoes for sneakers, and restrictive ties for a collection of comfy, colorful scarves. His friends teased him at first, calling him Mr. Cozy, but soon enough they were asking where he got his sweatpants because they looked so comfortable. What Henry realized was that obsessing over his appearance didn't make him happier or more respected. In fact, once he embraced a more relaxed style, he felt freer and more confident. By focusing on what made him feel good, rather than how others perceived him, he found a new sense of self-respect, one rooted in authenticity and comfort. Aging brings a certain kind of wisdom. You start to realize that how you feel matters more than how you look. A comfortable outfit, a genuine smile, and a sense of peace go much further than any wrinkle cream or designer suit ever could. It's not about letting yourself go. It's about releasing the pressure to be someone you're not and enjoying the freedom to simply be yourself. 3. Trying to stay in the workforce too long after 70. Staying in the workforce can start to feel less rewarding and more draining. While having a job might have provided purpose or financial security earlier in life, there comes a time when stepping back and enjoying the freedom you've worked so hard for is the better choice. At this stage, priorities shift. Chasing promotions, dealing with office politics, or enduring long hours often lose their appeal. Instead, retirement offers the opportunity to focus on what truly matters: health, family, hobbies, and meaningful experiences. Take Robert, for example, and his matters. At 72, he had spent over 40 years working in a high-stress corporate job. For years, he found fulfillment in climbing the ladder and achieving professional goals. But as he got older, he began to notice the toll it took on him. The stress of meeting deadlines, handling demanding clients, and keeping up with the constant pace of his industry started feeling less satisfying. What he once saw as a sign of success now felt like an obstacle to the peace and joy he craved. One day, Robert found himself dreading going to work, realizing that the long hours and pressure no longer matched his current priorities. He started thinking about the time he was missing out on. Time he could spend traveling with his family, working on his garden, or simply enjoying life without the constant buzz of a job in the background. That's when Robert decided to retire. While it wasn't easy to walk away from a career he'd dedicated so much of his life to, Robert quickly found that retirement gave him a sense of freedom he hadn't expected. He had time for his health, enjoyed more family gatherings, and finally had space to explore hobbies he'd neglected for years. At the end of the day, staying in the workforce too long after 70 may limit your opportunities to enjoy the things that truly matter. Retirement doesn't mean you're stepping away from life, it means stepping into a new chapter of freedom, relaxation, and joy. 4. Decades working as an accountant. Even after reaching the typical retirement age, Robert, a 72-year-old accountant, was reluctant to leave the workforce. He thought, "What will I do with all my free time? What if I feel unproductive?" So Robert continued working part-time, convincing himself he was still needed at the office. But as the months went on, he felt more fatigued, less motivated, and increasingly frustrated with the demands of his job and pay. One day, while missing his grandson's birthday party due to a last-minute work deadline, Robert had an epiphany. He realized that he wasn't truly enjoying his life anymore. He was just going through the motions. With the support of his family, Robert finally made the decision to retire anymore. At first, he was uncertain about how he'd fill his days. But soon he discovered a whole new side of life. He joined a gardening club, took long walks with his wife, and even started writing a memoir about his years as an accountant. Now, Robert often reflects on how much joy he's found since leaving the workforce. "I thought my job was my identity," he says, retirement. "Retirement taught me that I'm so much more than my career. Life isn't about how much you earn or how many hours you work. It's about the people you love and the memories you create." After 70, staying in the workforce too long can rob you of precious time that could be spent doing what you truly love. Retirement isn't the end of productivity, it's the start of a new chapter. One where you can live at your own pace, pursue passions, and reconnect with the things that make life meaningful. It's not about giving up. It's about giving yourself the freedom to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Quote, blank, underscore, blank, 5. Holding on to a huge house after 70, holding on to a large home can often feel more like a burden than a blessing. Sure, it's filled with memories, but maintaining a big house comes with significant downsides. Empty rooms collecting dust, constant maintenance eating into your time and energy, and high costs draining your finances. As life changes, so do our needs, and a massive house may no longer make sense for this stage of life. Downsizing to a smaller, more manageable space can bring a sense of freedom and relief you never knew you needed. Take Mary and John, for example, a retired couple in their early 70s who lived in the same sprawling 4-bedroom home where they had raised their kids. When the kids moved out, the house felt eerily quiet, and most of the rooms went unused. Yet Mary and John still found themselves mowing a massive lawn, fixing leaky pipes, and dusting furniture that no one used. Not to mention the rising utility bills for heating and cooling all that empty space. One day, after a particularly grueling weekend of yard work, Mary suggested they consider downsizing. At first, John resisted. After all, the house held decades of cherished memories. But eventually, they toured a nearby retirement community with smaller, cozier homes. And to their surprise, the idea of a simpler life started to feel more appealing. They made the leap, selling their big house and moving into a 2-bedroom bungalow with a small garden. The change was transformative. Without the burden of constant maintenance and high costs, Mary and John suddenly had more time and energy to enjoy their retirement. They joined community activities, traveled more often, and spent their weekends relaxing instead of working on the house. "It's like we've taken a weight off our shoulders," John said. "I never realized how much that big house was holding us back." For many, letting go of a large home can feel bittersweet, but it's often the first step toward a more liberated, enjoyable lifestyle. Downsizing doesn't mean giving up. It means embracing a space that fits your current needs and priorities. Instead of spending time and money maintaining a house, you gain the freedom to focus on what truly matters. 5. Worrying. Worrying about diets and fads. As we age, the pressure to keep up with the latest diet trends or food fads starts to feel less relevant. For many, the constant stream of the next big thing in nutrition, whether it's keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, or the latest superfood, becomes overwhelming and frustrating. But after 70, it's often less about following the latest craze and more about enjoying balanced meals that support long-term health. Focusing on what makes your body feel good rather than what's trending can reduce stress and lead to a more satisfying, sustainable approach to eating. Take George, for example, a 73-year-old who spent much of his earlier years jumping from one diet to the next. He became obsessed with the latest health fads, cutting out carbs one year, counting calories the next, and even trying juice cleanses. While he briefly enjoyed the results, none of these diets were sustainable, and each left him feeling more frustrated than nourished. Every time a new diet trend emerged, George would dive right in, hoping it would finally be the one that worked. One day, after reading yet another article about the next miracle diet, George decided he'd had enough. He realized that what he truly needed was a simpler approach to food, one that didn't involve restriction or the stress of constantly calculating calories. He went back to basics, focusing on eating a variety of whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and drinking plenty of water. Gone were the days of feeling guilty over a missed workout or a slice of cake. What happened next surprised George. He felt healthier, had more energy, and even dropped a few pounds without trying to follow the latest fad. Instead of obsessing over whether he was eating the right things, George focused on nourishing his body in a way that made sense for him, and the results were positive. He was no longer a slave to the diet industry's pressure. He simply ate foods that made him feel good and supported his overall well-being. At the end of the day, dieting after 70 doesn't need to be about chasing trends. It's about embracing a balanced, realistic approach to eating. The goal is to fuel your body with nourishing foods that you enjoy, not to keep up with the ever-changing world of diets. Life's too short to worry about whether you're eating the perfect meal. What matters most is feeling good and taking care of yourself in a way that lasts. 6. Keeping a cluttered home can feel overwhelming, especially as we get older. All those "I'll use it someday" items or sentimental keepsakes pile up, turning your living space into a source of stress rather than comfort. Decluttering isn't just about cleaning. It's about creating an environment that promotes mental clarity, reduces stress, and allows you to fully enjoy your space. When your home is simplified, your mind feels lighter, and your daily life becomes so much easier to manage. Take Margaret, for example. She was a 74-year-old retired teacher with a house packed with decades of memories. From old textbooks and teaching supplies to piles of her kids' school projects, her home was bursting at the seams. She often joked, "I could open a museum with all this stuff." But deep down, Margaret felt trapped by the clutter. She had a hard time finding the things she actually needed, and worried constantly about tripping over boxes or furniture. One day, after struggling to find her favorite pair of glasses in the chaos, Margaret decided it was time to make a change. She tackled her home one room at a time, sorting items into keep, donate, and toss piles. At first, she hesitated to part with things, especially those tied to fond memories. But as she went on, she realized that holding on to too much was holding her back. She decided to keep only the most meaningful items and let go of everything else. The transformation was incredible. With her space finally cleared, Margaret felt a sense of relief she hadn't experienced in years. She could move around her home freely, enjoy her favorite cozy corners, and even rediscover some cherished belongings she had forgotten about. "It's like my home is breathing again," she laughed, "and so am I." Holding on to too much stuff can weigh you down, both physically and emotionally. Decluttering isn't about losing the things that matter. It's about freeing yourself from the things that don't. A tidy, organized home can be a source of peace and joy, allowing you to focus on what truly matters and live your life to the fullest. 7. Overusing technology. Technology has undoubtedly made life easier. But after 70, it's easy to fall into the trap of overusing gadgets and social media. While staying connected online can be a great way to pass time, it can also take away from the richness of real-life experiences. Scrolling endlessly through social media, binge-watching TV shows, or constantly checking notifications might seem harmless, but it often replaces meaningful activities like spending time with loved ones, exploring hobbies, or simply enjoying nature. Take Frank, a 72-year-old grandfather, for example. He found himself glued to his tablet for hours every day. What started as checking emails and reading news turned into scrolling through social media for hours and binge-watching videos late into the night. His family started to notice that he was less engaged during visits, often responding with just a "him," while his eyes stayed locked on the screen. Despite being connected online, Frank began feeling isolated. One day, his 10-year-old granddaughter visited and asked, "Grandpa, why do you look at your phone more than you look at me?" That simple question was a wake-up call. Frank decided to put down his tablet and spend the afternoon playing board games with her. They laughed, shared stories, and had more fun than Frank had experienced in months. He realized how much he had been missing by living life through a screen instead of being present in the moment. Since then, Frank set boundaries for his technology use. He now limits his screen time and prioritizes activities like gardening, taking walks, and hosting coffee chats with friends. He found that real conversations and shared experiences were far more fulfilling than anything a screen could offer. "I'll still check the news," he joked, "but now I make sure I'm the headline in my own life." Technology is a tool, not a replacement for living. While it's great for staying informed and connected, too much reliance on gadgets can rob you of the simple joys of real-life experiences. Setting boundaries and prioritizing face-to-face interactions can make life feel richer and more meaningful after 70. 8. Ignoring physical activity. As we grow older, staying physically active becomes more important than ever. Ignoring physical activity might seem harmless in the short term, but over time it can lead to reduced mobility, weakened muscles, and increased health risks like heart issues or joint pain. The truth is, our bodies were designed to move, and even a little regular activity can make a world of difference in how we feel physically and mentally. Staying active isn't about hitting the gym or running marathons. It's about keeping your body strong and capable for everyday tasks. Take Helen, a 75-year-old widow, for example. After her husband passed away, she found herself sitting more than she used to. She spent most of her days watching TV or reading on the couch. Slowly, she noticed it was harder to get up the stairs, and her knees began to ache more often. One day, her grandson invited her to take a walk around the block, and Helen was shocked at how winded she felt after just 10 minutes. That moment made her realize she had been neglecting her physical health. Determined to make a change, Helen started small. She began with gentle stretching exercises every morning, followed by short walks around her neighborhood. Over time, she added light strength exercises, like lifting water bottles to build her arm strength. Within weeks, she noticed a big difference. Not only could she climb the stairs more easily, but she also felt more energetic and slept better at night. "I may not be as fast as I used to be, but I sure feel stronger now," she joked. Staying active has become part of Helen's daily routine. She loves her morning walks, often stopping to chat with neighbors or admire the flowers in their gardens. Helen realized that keeping her body moving wasn't just about staying healthy. It also gave her a sense of purpose and connection to her surroundings. The key takeaway: it's never too late to start moving. Ignoring physical activity can lead to a slower, less mobile lifestyle. But making even small efforts to stay active can have incredible benefits. Whether it's a daily walk, light stretching, or simply dancing to your favorite song, keeping your body moving is one of the best ways to stay healthy and happy after 70. And that's a wrap on the 8 things that make no sense after 70. Remember, it's not about sticking to old habits. It's about embracing new ways to live more freely, joyfully, and comfortably. If you found yourself guilty of any of these, don't worry. It's never too late to make a change. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a comment below and tell me if you agree with these points or if there's anything else you'd add to the list. And hey, if you think this video was helpful, give it a like and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care, stay active, and always keep learning. See you in the next video.
Have you ever thought about how visiting the wrong people's homes can drain your energy, hurt your peace of mind, or even damage your reputation? As you age, it becomes clear that not everyone's home is a safe space for your emotional well-being. Protecting your peace, energy, and dignity is essential, and it's more important than ever. Every visit, every interaction, and every moment spent with others should add value to your life, not take away from it. In today's video, I'm going to reveal 7 types of people whose homes you should avoid visiting, no matter how much free time you have. These insights may surprise you, but they will also help you protect your happiness, maintain healthy boundaries, and live a more fulfilling life. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll have thought-provoking lessons that can transform how you spend your precious time and energy. The importance of protecting your peace as we age. Life teaches us that peace of mind is one of our greatest treasures. Maintaining emotional boundaries becomes crucial because not every situation or person deserves access to your energy. Without these boundaries, you risk letting others dictate your emotions, leaving you drained, anxious, or even resentful. By protecting your peace, you can create a life filled with positivity and fulfillment, free from unnecessary stress. Time is precious, especially as we grow older. Every moment you spend should be meaningful, whether it's nurturing relationships, pursuing hobbies, or simply enjoying solitude. Spending your time wisely means avoiding situations that bring negativity or waste your energy. Remember, your time is not an endless resource. It's a valuable asset that should be invested, not squandered. Emotional boundaries also help safeguard your dignity and self-respect. As you age, you deserve to be in environments where you feel valued and appreciated. Surrounding yourself with the wrong people can chip away at your confidence, making you question your worth. Setting limits with those who bring negativity or chaos into your life isn't selfish. It's necessary for your well-being. Another reason to protect your peace is to avoid unnecessary conflicts. Visiting the wrong people or being in the wrong situations can lead to disagreements, misunderstandings, or drama. Things you could have avoided by prioritizing peace. By doing so, you can focus on what truly matters: your health, happiness, and the relationships that uplift you. Ultimately, protecting your peace is about living a life that aligns with your values and brings you joy. It's about recognizing that you've worked hard to get where you are and deserve to enjoy every moment without feeling drained or burdened by the actions of others. By maintaining emotional boundaries and valuing your time, you can create a life of serenity and purpose. The 7 types of people. 1. The chronic complainer. One of the most draining types of people to encounter is the chronic complainer. These individuals seem to always find something to criticize, whether it's the weather, their health, or the way the world works. Instead of focusing on solutions or gratitude, they thrive on negativity, and their conversations often feel like a heavy burden. Spending time with a chronic complainer can leave you emotionally exhausted as their pessimism seeps into your own mindset. The biggest issue with chronic complainers is that they rarely acknowledge the impact their negativity has on others. They don't realize that constant venting can make those around them feel stressed, helpless, or even resentful. Over time, their negativity creates an atmosphere where happiness and optimism struggle to survive. For someone trying to protect their peace, this is an environment you must learn to avoid. Life is too short to spend time in spaces where your energy is constantly drained. Chronic complainers pull others into their cycle of frustration, leaving little room for positive, uplifting conversations. Instead of adding value to your life, they weigh you down with problems that often have no solutions. The life lesson here is simple. Protect your happiness and peace by avoiding environments that feed off negativity. This doesn't mean you should abandon someone going through a tough time, but it does mean setting boundaries. If someone's constant complaining becomes a pattern, it's important to distance yourself emotionally to preserve your own mental well-being. Instead of spending your precious time with chronic complainers, seek out people who inspire you, make you laugh, and uplift your spirit. Surrounding yourself with positivity is a conscious choice, and it's one of the most important decisions you can make as you age. Remember, your peace of mind is priceless. Don't let anyone, especially a chronic complainer, take it away from you. 2. The gossip lover. There's a certain kind of home where gossip is the main activity, where every conversation revolves around other people's lives, their mistakes, and their secrets. At first, it might seem harmless or even entertaining, but make no mistake, spending time in such an environment can be dangerous. The more you listen and engage, the more you risk being associated with the negativity and drama that gossip creates. Worse, today's storyteller can easily turn tomorrow's conversation against you. One of the biggest risks of being around gossip lovers is that your reputation can become entangled in their words. Even if you don't contribute, just being present while gossip spreads can make others believe you are part of it. Over time, people may begin to mistrust you, fearing that their personal matters could become the next topic of discussion. As you grow older, your dignity and integrity matter more than ever. Don't let gossip drag them down. Another danger of spending time with gossipers is the emotional toll it takes. Conversations filled with rumors and speculation rarely leave you feeling fulfilled or inspired. Instead, they create unnecessary stress, jealousy, and sometimes even conflict. Engaging in gossip can lead to misunderstandings, broken relationships, and a toxic cycle that keeps negativity alive. Instead of feeding into this, choose conversations that bring wisdom, encouragement, and peace into your life. The best way to protect yourself is to avoid getting involved in other people's personal matters altogether. If a conversation turns into gossip, politely excuse yourself or steer it in a different direction. Setting this boundary will not only protect your peace but will also send a clear message that you value integrity over idle chatter. It's far better to be known as someone who speaks with kindness and wisdom than as someone who simply spreads stories about others. In the end, preserving your dignity is about making intentional choices about where you spend your time and who you surround yourself with. Gossip might seem like harmless chatter, but its consequences can linger long after the conversation ends. Choose to engage in meaningful discussions, build genuine connections, and surround yourself with people who respect others. That's the kind of company that brings true peace and fulfillment. 3. The manipulative people come in many forms, but their tactics are always the same. They use others for their own benefit. As you get older and perhaps have more free time, you may find yourself becoming an easy target. These individuals will make you feel obligated to help them, guilt trip you into doing favors, or constantly take from you without ever giving back. Their words may be sweet, but their actions reveal their true intentions. They see your kindness as something to exploit. The problem with manipulators is that they rarely ask directly for what they want. Instead, they use subtle pressure, emotional guilt, or even flattery to get their way. They might say things like, "You have so much free time now, why don't you help me with this?" Or, "If you really cared, you'd do this for me." Before you know it, you're stuck in a cycle of doing things you never wanted to do simply because you felt bad saying no. This is why setting boundaries is so important. Just because you have extra time doesn't mean you owe it to anyone. Your time is still yours, and you have the right to spend it in ways that bring you joy and fulfillment. If someone is always taking but never giving, or if you feel drained after every interaction, it's a sign that you need to step back. Protecting your energy isn't selfish. It's necessary for your own well-being. The best way to deal with manipulators is to learn to say no without guilt. You don't need to explain yourself or feel bad for prioritizing your own peace. If someone truly respects you, they will understand and accept your boundaries. If they get upset or try to pressure you further, That's a clear sign that they were never really interested in your well-being. They just wanted to use you. At this stage in life, you deserve relationships that are built on mutual respect, not obligation or guilt. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. By standing firm in your boundaries, you reclaim control over your time, your energy, and, most importantly, your peace of mind. 4. The overly critical relative family is supposed to be a source of love and support, but sometimes certain relatives can make you feel judged rather than appreciated. The overly critical relative always has something negative to say, whether it's about your appearance, the way you live, or even how you spend your time. Instead of offering encouragement, they focus on what they think you should change, making you feel like you're never quite good enough. Their words may come under the guise of helpful advice, but in reality, they only bring unnecessary stress and self-doubt. One of the most frustrating things about overly critical relatives is that they rarely acknowledge the beauty of aging. Instead of celebrating your wisdom and experiences, they point out things like wrinkles, slower movements, or changes in your routine. They may compare you to others, suggesting that you should be doing more, looking different, or acting a certain way. But here's the truth. Aging is a privilege, not a flaw. You've lived through challenges, gained wisdom, and earned the right to live life on your own terms without unnecessary criticism. Constant judgment from family can take an emotional toll, making you second-guess yourself or feel pressured to live up to impossible standards. It's important to remember that you don't need anyone's approval to live a happy, fulfilling life. If a relative's words always leave you feeling drained or disrespected, it's okay to limit your time around them. You don't have to tolerate negativity just because they're family. Instead of letting their criticism affect you, remind yourself of everything you've achieved. Your life is yours to live, and you deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift and respect you. If necessary, address their behavior directly, calmly but firmly. Let them know that their comments are unwelcome. You have every right to set boundaries, even with family members. At this stage in life, peace and happiness should be your priority. Not everyone will understand or appreciate the choices you make, and that's okay. What matters most is that you respect yourself. Aging is not something to be ashamed of. It's a testament to a life well lived. And anyone who doesn't see that, well, maybe it's best to keep your distance from their home. 5. The perpetual moocher. There's always that one person who seems to have endless needs but never offers anything in return. Whether it's borrowing money, asking for favors, or expecting free help, the perpetual moocher sees your kindness as an opportunity to take, and take, and take some more. At first, they may seem harmless, maybe even a little desperate. But over time, you start to realize that their requests aren't occasional acts of need. They've become a habit, and you're their reliable source of support. The problem with moochers is that their gratitude is often short-lived. The moment you help them, they disappear until they need something again. They may make promises to pay you back or return the favor, but somehow that day never comes. And if you ever say no, they act offended or try to guilt-trip you into feeling bad. This cycle can drain not only your finances but also your emotional energy, making you feel used rather than appreciated. While generosity is a beautiful trait, it should never be exploited. You've worked hard for what you have, and at this stage in life, your resources, whether time, money, or energy, should be spent wisely. Helping others is admirable, but only when it's done for those who truly appreciate it. If someone is constantly taking without giving, you have every right to set limits. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It means you respect yourself enough not to be taken advantage of. One way to handle a perpetual moocher is to offer guidance instead of direct help. If they ask for money, suggest financial planning advice. If they want a favor, encourage them to find ways to solve their problems independently. This allows you to see if they genuinely need assistance or if they're simply looking for the easiest way out at your expense. At this stage in life, your well-being should come first. Giving should feel good, not like an obligation. Surround yourself with people who appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can provide. By setting boundaries, you ensure that your kindness is valued, not exploited. True generosity comes from the heart, but it should never come at the cost of your peace and stability. 6. The chaos bringers. Some people thrive on conflict and instability, and their homes reflect that energy. These are the chaos bringers, individuals whose lives are filled with constant arguments, tension, and drama. When you step into their space, you might feel the weight of their negativity immediately. Instead of finding peace and joy in their company, you're met with shouting matches, emotional outbursts, or a general atmosphere of disarray. Being around this kind of environment can quickly drain your mental and emotional well-being. The truth is, toxic environments can leave lasting effects on your mental health. Even if you're not directly involved in the arguments, just witnessing the conflict can heighten your stress levels and disrupt your peace of mind. Over time, this stress can take a toll on your happiness, leaving you unsettled long after you've left their home. As you grow older, it becomes even more important to protect your emotional balance and avoid unnecessary negativity. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that you don't have to endure someone else's chaos to maintain a relationship. You might feel obligated to visit these individuals, especially if they're family or old friends. But remember, protecting your peace is more important than fulfilling social expectations. It's okay to love someone from a distance if their environment is toxic to your well-being. If you find yourself frequently exposed to these chaotic situations, it's important to set boundaries. Politely decline invitations to their home and, if necessary, suggest meeting in a neutral, calmer setting where their behavior is less likely to escalate. Taking control of how and where you interact with them allows you to maintain the relationship on your terms while safeguarding your peace. In life, your mental health should always be a priority. The world is already filled with challenges. There's no need to add unnecessary conflict to your plate. By staying away from the chaos bringers, you free yourself to focus on the people and environments that uplift and nourish your spirit. Peace is a treasure, and it's worth protecting at all costs. 7. The emotionally detached. There are some people whose presence feels like a void, emotionally detached, distant, and uninterested in anything beyond surface-level interaction. When you visit these individuals, you might feel invisible, as though your well-being doesn't matter to them. They don't ask how you're doing, they don't notice when you're struggling, and they certainly don't offer any support or care. Their emotional indifference can leave you feeling unimportant and unappreciated, even though you've given them your time and attention. Being around people like this can be emotionally draining, especially as you get older and begin to value connection more deeply. As you age, your time and energy become precious commodities, and you deserve to spend both with people who genuinely care about you. If someone shows no interest in your life, your health, or your happiness, their presence can leave you feeling isolated, even in a room full of people. This lack of emotional connection can be more damaging than outright negativity because it makes you question your worth and your place in their life. The lesson here is simple. You don't have to keep giving your time to those who don't value it. Life is too short to chase after affection or attention from people who are emotionally unavailable. Instead, focus on cultivating relationships with those who uplift you, who make you feel seen and heard. You deserve to be around people who show empathy, who genuinely care about your well-being, and who are willing to invest in a meaningful connection with you. If you find yourself continually seeking emotional fulfillment from the detached, it's time to reassess the relationship. You may need to accept that some people simply won't be able to provide what you need, no matter how much you try. Instead of forcing yourself into these emotionally barren environments, seek out those who make you feel appreciated and valued, people who celebrate your presence and bring warmth into your life. At this stage, it's essential to focus on your emotional health. Surround yourself with those who enrich your life and bring positivity into your world. You've earned the right to enjoy the company of those who love and cherish you. So don't waste your precious time on people who can't or won't offer the same in return. In the end, your time and energy are invaluable, especially as you age. Protect your peace by avoiding people who drain, disrespect, or emotionally neglect you. Surround yourself with those who value and uplift you, and let go of those who take without giving. Remember, you deserve to live your life with joy, dignity, and respect. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found the insights helpful, don't forget to leave a comment below with either a 9 or a 0. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Until next time, take care and protect your peace.